when the liberal group got a exempt status, and 3 that I just mentioned didn't for over 2 years. Mr. Nunes mentioned Ms. Lerner. Who was her boss in 2011 and 2012? Who did she report to?
I believe it would have been
Sarah Ingram, maybe?
Part of that time, and part of that time another gentleman.
Okay. And that other gentleman has since submitted his resignation?
I believe so.
And what is Ms. Ingram doing today? What's her job title?
She works on on implementing the Affordable Care Act.
Okay. Who promoted her to that position?
I would have moved her into that position.
Why would you promote somebody to that position who was in charge of the exempt organization division, which certainly has had some controversy over the last couple years, under an investigation?
Because she is a superb civil servant, sir.
So she had nothing to do with this?
I wouldn't imagine so.
Even
By the way,
though
I can't speak to individual cases. I can say generally, we provided horrible customer service here. I will admit that. We did. Horrible customer service.
You
Whether it was
targeted
politically motivated or not is a very different question.
You targeted an individual, an American who
All right.
still doesn't know to this day why he was question number 26.
All right, time has expired. Mr. Becerra is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your testimony. And let me key off of something, Mr. Miller, you said. You said foolish mistakes were made. I think the President actually said it better. He said that the handling of those tax-exempt applications in that process at the IRS was outrageous and intolerable. No excuse. And as much as we know that the folks at IRS have a thankless job because they have to go and tell their fellow Americans that they may be audited or they have to do this work understaffed, we have to maintain the confidence in the system because it's a voluntary system of payment of our taxes.
Agreed.
And so you are right, it was a foolish mistake, but the President's even more correct that it was outrageous and intolerable. Now, let me also focus on something, Mr. George, you said. When you were asked, was there any finding or evidence of political motivation here, you said no.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And so what we find is a situation where inexcusable activity took place because it erodes the confidence of the American people in a system where they participate voluntarily. And if there's a place in public service where you have to have the highest level of conduct and standards, it's at the IRS. And so, Mr. Miller, I think it's unfortunate for those who are in positions of authority, but the buck has to stop somewhere, and I think that's exactly what we're saying. That should not diminish the good work that has been done by anyone within the IRS over the years. And so I hope you understand that you are here today talking to us because we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to clean up and clear out so we can go back to the business of making sure that people respect the fact that we have a voluntary system of paying our taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Miller, I want to talk a little about the culture of the organization. I was looking at the note, your bio, 90,000 employees, $12 billion budget. You've been there 25 years. I'm concerned, and I guess to start off, you know, we've got a mission statement there. I'm very concerned about the breadth and the depth of maybe what's going on. I think a lot of employees probably do a good job, but I've been a person that's been in business 30 years and run larger organizations. So you've got a mission statement in terms of talking about working for the American people, doing what's right, playing by the rules. Is that something that's internalized at the IRS, or is that just something on a website?
So I believe, Congressman, it's internalized, and the vast majority of our folk are hardworking, incredibly honest people. I'm going to tell you, and you guys should hear that as these discussions occur, as you know, it's damaging to the morale of those people. And we, you know, it's probably ultimately damaging to the sense of voluntary compliance, which underlies our entire tax system.
Well, let me just say, I think there's probably a lot of good people, but at the same time, we've got a massive PR problem at minimum.
We do.
And this has got to be dealt with quickly, and it can't just drag on for 6 months to a year. So I think we need to get to the bottom of it. The other thing, let me just ask, in terms of that size organization, who's in charge? Who's the boss? How is that hierarchy? How does it work? You know, I ran a very decentralized business where I had a corporate structure, but I had managers and partners in different operations. How is the IRS, you know, in terms of being an acting commissioner? You've been there 25 years. Who do you report to, or the commissioner, ideally in the past, who do they report to? And at what point, when something like this comes up, who's involved at the next level up?
So the reporting chain and the organization is, there are 2 deputies and reporting to the commissioner, and the commissioner reports to the deputy secretary of Treasury.
Who's ultimately responsible?
The commissioner, acting commissioner, not the Treasury. The Treasury relationship is such that they would not be involved.
So who would be responsible for you? Who basically asked you to resign or fired you?
It would be Secretary Liu.
Secretary Treasurer. The other thing is, let me ask you, there's been 2 people that have been, were you terminated or fired? What happened there? Or are you getting ready to retire?
I was asked to resign, and I will retire.
Okay.
As under the civil service rules.
Now, on what basis do you feel like you're getting asked, and maybe one other person, I guess, got asked, but it seems like there's a lot of other people, ideally in Cincinnati and Washington and other parts, that haven't been held accountable?
I'm not sure what the question is, sir. If I could answer it and then tell me if I'm answering the wrong question.
Okay, go ahead.
We're not done yet. We're not. We now have the Treasury Inspector General's report. We now have the sense of the facts. Now is the time for those that remain, including the incoming acting commissioner, Mr. Werfel, to take those actions.
Let me mention, as it's been brought up with a couple of the ladies that work with you, Lois Lehner and Sarah Ingram, what's being done about those 2? Because they've been in the press. There's a lot of concern about that. They ran a large operation, and it seems to be at the heart of the issues today. I think that's got to get dealt with in a very aggressive, clear way in the next week or 2.
I don't know whether it will be or not. That will be up to the new acting commissioner.